Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Denise Wood here with our new weekend broadcast. Israel is gearing up to celebrate Jerusalem Day, and Prime Minister Netanyahu is already honoring it with a special speech in the Knesset. Jerusalem Day is a national Israeli holiday that commemorates the reunification of the city after the Six-Day War in 1967. The holiday will officially be observed this Sunday, June 5th, but that hasn't stopped Israelis from starting to talk about it a few days early. The Prime Minister held a special cabinet session in honor of the day on Thursday, along with giving a speech at the Knesset about it. Netanyahu used the opportunity to defend Israel's right to Jerusalem and gave a detailed history of the Jewish people in the Old City, dating back to the time of King David through the First and Second Temple eras until today.
יום השנה 49 לאיחודה מחדש של בירת ישראל מוצא את ירושלים במגמה ברורה של התפתחות, של פריחה ושל הישגים מעוררי גאווה. יש הרבה נושאים ואתגרים שמונחים לפנינו, בהם צריכים לטפל, אנחנו עושים זאת, נמשיך לעשות זאת. אבל דבר אחד ברור, ירושלים, לב האומה, בירתנו המאוחדת, מתפתחת בצעדי ענק. אני לא חושב שיש פה מקום לאפולוגטיקה כלשהי, איננו צריכים לתרץ את הימצאותנו בירושלים. מאז ראשית דרכנו כאומה, קיומנו נקשר בירושלים, ותודעת הזכות היא אבן יסוד בחווייתנו הלאומית, באמונתנו הציונית. מעבר לכך, רוב מוצק, רוב מכריע בציבור, מבין שרק ישראל הדמוקרטית מסוגלת להבטיח את היותה של ירושלים עיר פתוחה ועיר חופשית לכל הדתות. חופש דתי מותנה בסובלנות, וסובלנות מתקיימת רק אם יש נכונות אמיתית לכבד את קודשי הצד השני, קודשי הדת בראש ובראשונה. אנחנו נכנסים לשנת היובל של איחוד ירושלים, באמתחתנו עוד הרבה מאוד תוכניות והרבה מאוד יוזמות לקידום הבירה מקוטב אל קוטב. אנחנו נמשיך להבטיח שירושלים, בירתנו המאוחדת, תהיה בטוחה, משגשגת, פונה לפני העתיד, פונה לדו-קיום, פונה לשלום.
Netanyahu is also denouncing last month's UNESCO resolution that ignored Israel's roots to the Temple Mount and the Western Wall. Netanyahu says the resolution is absurd and so ridiculous, and it looks like it really bothered the Prime Minister, because he even said he just can't get over it. Netanyahu also discussed the violence and incitement by Palestinians in the capital, and says that even though it would be ideal to have freedom of worship for all, some people in the region lack tolerance and keep that from happening. Finally, Netanyahu described Jerusalem as a mixed city with a complex fabric of life, saying that even though its coexistence isn't perfect, it does exist. It's no surprise Israel is a world leader in solar energy, since Israelis actually invented the method of harnessing the sun's power and turning it into electricity. Yosef Avimovich is a pioneer in the field, and he told ILTV's Steve Leibowitz that Israel has actually become a light into the nations, especially developing nations.
So one of the nice things is that all commercial-scale solar is essentially an Israeli invention. This is Arnold Goldman. The first commercial-scale solar field in the world was in California by an Israeli company called Luz. Newt Becker, Zichrono Livracha, is the chair of the board. And so every solar field, whether it's going to be in Saudi Arabia or Germany or in Israel or in Africa, its basic fundamentals is Israeli IP, which is phenomenal contribution to the world. We built the first commercial-scale solar field in sub-Saharan Africa, in Rwanda, Chaim Motsunenai, and we're supplying 6% of the entire country's solar energy at all through that one field at the Agahozo Shalom Youth Village.
I know that today you have many visitors from the developing world that are here with you in Israel, in Jerusalem. What are they doing here?
So the Foreign Ministry through Mashav, twice a year with the Arava Institute for Environmental Studies from Kibbutz Keturah, the birthplace of the solar industry in Israel, they bring in mid-level energy officials from developing countries. So we have about 30 people here from about 15 countries. They come for a couple weeks. We give them all the training together. I get to show them the solar fields, and they come here for their graduation ceremony, and they go back to their countries trying to figure out how to create the solar industry there, and often they invite us in to be helpful.
So is it business, or is it philanthropy of helping out the developing world, or is it a combination of both?
We believe in impact investing. There's not enough philanthropy or foreign aid to electrify an entire continent like Africa. 600 million people without power. So the question is, how do you achieve this humanitarian goal of bringing literally power to the people so they can have education, healthcare, employment? And so it has to be a for-profit model because there's unlimited for-profit capital in the world that's looking for good projects. There are very few companies in the world that know how to de-risk Africa, that know how to make money in Africa in this. And we really invented the industry in Israel, and it was so hard that it actually prepared us for Africa. And so when an American developer looks at Africa, they sort of freak out. I look at Africa and go, wait, there's no Israel Land Authority? I'm ready. And we have a good team. We have a really good toolbox with a good team.
But it's not only the developing world that you're investing in. I understand that you'll also be dedicating a new plant in Georgia.
So
the state of Georgia.
The state of Georgia.
With Atlanta and the Braves.
That's right. As a family, we made Aliyah 10 years ago, and the field in Georgia this week is my 10th field. Hopefully, the next 10 years we'll build 1,000 fields, because that's what the world really needs. But we're doing our first one in the U.S. with David Hershkovitz, Energia USA, 22.5 megawatts, and 4 hours outside of Atlanta. And right now, we think we know how to go into tough markets in America, meaning Republican-controlled states without solar programs. What we like to do, we being the Israelis, we like to create markets where everyone says it's impossible, even though it's clear as day that the sun could be powering their countries or their states.
Looking ahead, and this is finally, looking ahead, 10 years from now, maybe 20 years from now, how much of the world will be powered by solar energy?
At least half. Because the way the economics are is that today it's already worth doing. So now it's about leadership. Coal is nearly dead. The coal industry in the last 6 years in the US has lost $30 billion worth of public shareholder value, and it's basically been killed by natural gas. So we have a natural gas boom now, but that's going to be temporary, meaning a generation is temporary when you look at the energy business.
It runs out.
It runs out, and that just like with cheap oil was oil that's easy to get. Now you have to go to crazy places and deep water drilling, and so any of the remaining fossil resources are more risky and more expensive to get. Once batteries become economical for storing green electrons from the sun, fossil fuel will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. And the price of batteries are coming down 16% every year, just like the way the panel prices for solar are coming down. So as soon as you can store sunlight, the end of the fossil fuel era better be here. Because otherwise, our children's world is toast.
Yosef Abramowitz from Energy Global. Thank you so much for being with us at ILTV.
Thank you very much.
Israel is a world leader in science, and it's not surprising to hear about new discoveries being made every day in the Holy Land. But for those of us who aren't scientists, how can you learn more about the world we live in, from the human body to discovering more about the world's animals? The Man in the Living World Museum is a museum of natural history that's located in the center of Israel, where visitors can find exhibits ranging from genetics to our furry friends. Museum Director Dorit Wolinetz is here today to tell us more. Thanks so much for coming in. So first of all, what exactly is the museum?
We are a natural history museum, classic one, and we are situated in Park Leumi in Ramat Gan. And we have classic exhibitions about animals, about the origin of man, origin of life. We have a nice exhibition about dinosaurs. Sorry, not with the huge skeletons that you might have in the States, but very nice exhibition explaining about dinosaur origin and their way of life. We have exhibition about production, animal sensors. We have a diorama of the Engedi, about Engedi, a very nice collection of animal skulls, skeletons.
Sounds like there's a very wide variety.
Yeah, and also exhibitions about the environment, and that we explain that you should keep the nature safe. Sure. And so on.
Fantastic. Now I see you brought something with you as well. Can I ask you about this? What is this?
Yeah, this is a book of Nahum Gutman. It's called Lovangulu Melech Zulu, and I bought it because we have now a new exhibition, which we called The Wild Animals of Nahum Gutman and Friends. It's a collaboration with Nahum Gutman Museum in Tel Aviv.
Fantastic.
And the exhibition is a unique combination about the Nahum Gutman art and the museum collection. Nahum Gutman once said that you can capture an animal by hunting him, but you also can capture an animal with art, drawing it, sculpturing it, and that's what Nahum Gutman used to do. In the early 30s of the last century, he was invited to draw a picture of one of the leaders in South Africa.
Wow.
And at that time, he was working in a children's newspaper, which was called Devar Liladim. And they asked him to send to Israel his experiences during his visit to Africa. And they were published in this children's newspaper. And then when he came back, he organized them in a book. This is the first book that Nahum Gutman was published.
Well, it looks beautiful. And this is what the entire exhibit about is. There's an exhibit about this right now in the museum, correct?
Yeah. And the work of art from this book, and also other drawings that he was doing as an art student in zoos, in Tel Aviv Zoo, in France, and in Berlin. And also we asked another artists to send their experience about Africa. So we have Eyal Bartov with photographs from Africa. We have Eyal Rouveni with origami works of wild animals. We have David Isaacson, his sculptures with metal rod, and he sculptures the elephants that are described in this book, that Nahum Gutman saw them as balloons floating in the air, and this is how the sculptures look. And also Tuvia Kurtz, who is he's an illustrator that illustrates a lot of stamps in Israel. Wow. And also there's an encyclopedia of the plants and animals of Israel, and he has some illustrations there. And also Yonatan Ofek, who used to be a shepherd.
Wow.
And he has some artwork which is something about his shepherd's day. And also there's a lot of activities for children in this exhibition. They can try their own origami.
Wow.
They can try to sketch a bear, because we have a drawing of Nahum Gutman of a bear in the zoo, and besides it we have a stuffed animal of a bear, and the children can sit and draw the bear. They have a reading corner where they have this book, and also other books about animals. And you know, the mother and the children, they can see it, and the mother can read the children from the books. A TV corner with a nature film from Eyal Bartov, and so on.
So it sounds like this is a really good exhibit, and the museum in general, for families, correct? Do a lot of families come?
Most of the people that visit the museum, it's during weekdays, it's school children and kindergarten children. But weekends and school vacations, we have a lot of families coming, and we have a lot of programs, especially for families, you know, guiding in the museum and art class and all kinds of activities for children and families.
Fantastic. And I understand this is only a limited time exhibit, correct?
Yes, but I mean, limited, it's not for a few months, it's for 2 years. And we are opening in July the 1st, we are opening temporary exhibits about cats.
Wow.
Yeah, in art exhibit about cats. So this is also something that people that will come to the museum can...
So cat lovers should check it out, basically.
Yeah, and I recommend that people that are planning a visit to Israel during the summer, they're invited to come to the museum and see our museum and join the activities.
Definitely. Well, it sounds like a fantastic place for people who live here, also people visiting, and just for the whole family. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you very much, and we hope to see you in the museum.
Definitely. Summer is just beginning in the Holy Land, which means Israelis are headed to the beach. Luckily, the Israeli coast will be a lot cleaner this year, because Israel has made a big investment to keep its seaside sparkling. Israel's Environmental Protection Ministry has just announced that they'll be extending their Clean Beach program, which aims to get rid of garbage on its Mediterranean and Eilat beaches. The program began in 2015 and has already cost 1.1 million shekels. Now, Israel is planning to spend up to 2.3 million shekels to ensure that there's tougher law enforcement and better education when it comes to keeping the coast clean. Even though the public beaches are supposed to be under the control of the local authorities, only 37% of the nation's beaches were ranked clean in a survey by the Environmental Ministry this May. The dirtiest beaches in the country were found in Eilat, Jisr Zalka, and the Ganwa Regional Council, and the cleanest were found in Tel Aviv, Bat Yam, and Ashkelon. The ministry's new program hopes to be the first step in tackling the bigger international issue of marine litter, since over 20 million tons of trash are thrown into the world's oceans every year. So if you're looking to take a vacation, Israel's the place to go if you want to lie on a clean Mediterranean beach. Israel has worked hard to earn its reputation as the high-tech nation, but sometimes it can sound easy to start a successful company, when in reality it's very difficult. This week I headed to SOSA, which is a center to help startups succeed and make sure they're spreading their technology to the world. Israel is known as the startup nation for a reason, but sometimes that leads to the assumption that it's easy to open a successful startup. In reality, it takes years of work and several rounds of funding, along with a lot of really good connections. SOSA was started to help connect startups to investors, which is beneficial for both sides.
SOSA is a very unique place where we took the idea of combining the ecosystem of the startup companies in Israel with the VC community, with the partners, with the business development partners all over the world and from Israel, to put them in a unique place where we can build a relationship between all of us in the high-tech industry.
We have like Carmel and Pitango and our crowd and many others, but we have as well SAP and IBM and Microsoft and others, and they're all engaged here. They want to see startups, they want to nominate startups for the place, they want to create opportunities for their portfolio, and they want to see deal flow. So that's our members.
The idea behind SOSA is making that connection, and it's way more than just your average working space. Startup employees not only are able to connect with investors, they also connect with each other.
The networking is essential for a startup, and this is a place that 24/7 networking is a part of the DNA, I would say.
We've actually made a connection within the companies, two companies collaborating in order to either reach clientele or to use the technologies in conjunction.
And SOSA doesn't let just any startup join them. The center currently has around 30 startups, and while they're all different, they're all related to technology. We took a look at two of the startups who both say SOSA is a great place to build their business and make connections.
So we're Filter. We analyze the social networks, review sites, blogs. We understand the social conversation regarding products, and we bring all of this information to e-commerce platforms to support customers. So we're actually using the social networks as a means of trustworthy information to support people's shopping decisions.
SOSA delivers the kind of experience where connections are made, some networking. If we need any value added to create any value via the connections and networks from the people around us, the people at SOSA enable that, and that kind of gives us a boost in order to progress quickly, to expedite things.
And it's no wonder that the startups have found a home at SOSA. The entire center has a relaxed vibe, and it's already successful for a lot of companies. In fact, the center is doing so well, they're planning to build another branch in Tel Aviv, along with a space in New York later this year.
So, New York, there is about 320 Israeli startups just in Manhattan, lower side of Manhattan. So we believe that it is another great opportunity for the ecosystem, plus all the edtech, media, digital. So there is a lot of opportunity in New York.
So while Israeli startups are continuing to take the world by storm, SOSA is working to help companies expand faster and send their amazing technology around the world. This is Denise Wood for ILTV.
All right, everybody, that's it for today's show. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv, and don't forget to check out our morning update on Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and Shabbat Shalom.